So today's question is, what are things that mattered to you as a young man that are now meaningless to you? Great question, man. And it's a perfect time for a question like that because I'm packing up my home. And so that means I'm going through old boxes, and it means I'm looking at old journals and old goal sheets and old vision maps and old relics of a life where I wanted to become somebody. And so yesterday, as I was going through one of the boxes, I found one of the books where I wrote down all of my goals. And one of the things that I wrote was that I wanted to be standing in a stadium with a roaring crowd. I wanted to be well known and famous in my industry. I wanted people to admire me, love me, respect me, and follow my lead. These are the things that the 24-year-old version of Elliott Hulse wanted. I'm now 46. And to a lot of you guys listening to this, and even if like the 24-year-old version of Elliott Hulse was sitting here listening to this, he would say, hell yeah, go for it. You can do it. Make it happen. That sounds like a great life. And the crazy thing is that the 23, 24-year-old version of me that I remember literally sitting in my father-in-law's basement where we were living at the time and writing these goals out. 10 years later, it came true. 10 years later, my YouTube channel, my Strength YouTube channel, reached 1 million subscribers. And for the first time in my life, I didn't grow up in Hollywood, grew up in a suburb of New York City, Long Island. First time in my life, I felt famous. I was going places in my city, in my town. I would travel and people would ask me for pictures and autographs. I would get all the messages and the comments and the emails from people who honored me, appreciated me, respected me, loved me. They wanted to come and be with me at my gym. I used to have open gyms and people would come in and make videos. And there were people who would come from all over the world. Rather than me standing in a stadium, I stood in my old little gym and people would come to me and we make these videos. If you go on my Strength Camp channel, you'll see these open gym videos. People would come all types of the day and look through the window to see if I was there, knock on the door, right? And there were times where I was like kind of put off and like I hid. I was hiding so that all the fame that was coming at me, all the attention that was coming at me, because I was a big somebody, I wanted to run away from. And I remember back then even imagining like, wow, this must be tough for people like Michael Jackson or Justin Bieber or like people in Hollywood. But here I was, just a boy from Long Island, living in South St. Pete, Slackerville, not much to show for my life except I got the goal. I became a somebody. I became admired. I became loved. I became followed. And so I know what it feels like to achieve the very thing that I wanted when I was in my youth. And so a lot of you guys might be watching this right now and you might be saying the same thing like, damn, that sounds awesome. That sounds great. I mean, it goes on. It was awesome. I did events and we created Strength Camp challenges and people were buying my shirts. They were buying my ebooks. They were taking my courses. I mean, it was incredible. And right at the peak of it, right when I finally got what I wanted and I was like on top of the mountain, something in me switched. Something in me was dissatisfied. Something in me felt angst. Something in me said, this is not it. And I stand here today as a 46-year-old man, and I don't know what that was, but it was real. I don't know if it was latent childhood traumatic wounds about not feeling worthy enough, or if it was my attachment to it, the strong emotional attachment, importance, identity that I built up in it that felt too much, felt too distant, felt too big for me to let go of. It felt like it owned me, right? I felt owned in many ways, right? Because in order to be famous and liked, you gotta do the famous and be famous and like me dance. Right? You gotta dance. You gotta shuck and jive. Right? And if you're a creator and you're making YouTube videos, you can't not show up. And you can't not just show up. You can't just show up weak. You gotta show up, especially me, I was doing strength stuff. Can't show up weak. You gotta show up strong and charismatic, and you gotta edit, and you gotta make sure that people are watching it, and you gotta get the watch time, and you gotta get a click-through rate. Do they like it? Did I get enough thumbs up? Social media, right? Thumbs, hearts, hearts, hearts. All being poured in, albeit digitally. And I think a part of me liked it too much. So I don't know which one it is, because I definitely have some low self-esteem stuff, feeling as if I'm not worthy. I know I have that, and I'm not resisting that, I'm not judging that. I kind of notice. I notice. Right? As I've gotten older, it's receded. But I also recognize that when the good thing comes, the thing that you want, the thing that I wanted, the thing that I worked so hard for, I felt trapped by it. I felt attached to it. I felt like it owned me now. And it was like the very thing that I thought will bring me freedom made me a slave. And worst of all is being a slave to other people's opinions. And whether you like it or not, we're all in some way, shape, or form manipulated by, and we make decisions by, and we have preferences due to other people's opinions. And it's tough enough just to live a life with the opinions of your parents, opinions of your siblings, opinions of your spouse, opinions of the people that you work with. But then when you become somebody, now you contend with the opinions of millions. And I know there's ways to block that out. There's ways to distance yourself from that. But if you're truly doing the work that let me bring it back to the I. If I'm truly doing the work that I'm called to do, which I thought was to help people, to save people, to make people the strongest version of themselves, to see them succeed, right? To encourage people, to inspire people, right? Rooting them on. That means I gotta be paying attention to the people. The more you pay attention to the people, the more I lost myself, both good and bad. Because there are the people that are like, man, you saved my life, and that can absolutely build up a superiority complex. And then there are people who are like, you're a douchebag, I hate you, shut your mouth, I wish you would die. And then that triggers the the sense of not being worthy enough. So you're constantly being, bombarded with other people's projections, which it's taken me many years to recognize that has nothing to do with me, it has to do with them. But I put myself in the scene. And so the question today is about what has lost its meaning for me as I've gotten older. And I know it sounds easy for me to say this because I got it, but I'm telling you it because I got it, it has become meaningless to me. And even when I got it, I threw it away, like I told you. And it was the hardest. It was easy to throw it away, right? 2014, you guys who've been following me for a long time, took a long break from YouTube, 2 months, and people were like, where the hell did Elliott go? Where did Elliott go? It reached 1 million subscribers and disappeared. That part was easy. Okay, good, I did it. And that's my nature. My nature is I'm gonna do something and then it's done. But not only did I become a slave to other people's opinions, but I became a slave to the income that it produced. And so there's these two different parts of me. There's a part of me that's built up and bombarded by being somebody that everybody looks at and the money that comes with it. Right? There's part of it that's I didn't grow up in Hollywood. I don't know exactly how to deal with this. People are looking for me. People are judging me, people are watching me, but okay, I'm on the pedestal and it's exciting to the ego, and I'm being paid to be there. Stay there, stay there, stay. And then you come off, you step off a little bit, and it's like, oh, the money goes away. So stepping back was easy, but staying away was hard. And I think that's where God was trying to show me the truth of my situation in my life, which is not to be somebody, not to become somebody, not to reach for fame, not to reach for fortune. I don't want those things anymore. I wanted them, I reached for them, I got them, and I hated them. Because of the way I perceived them, because the attachment I had to them, because what I thought it actually meant. I thought it gave me value. I thought it was an indication of my worth. And when the money's coming too, it tells you like, well, you're worth this much. Yeah, you're worth this much. Boom, wow, I like that. And so you start equalizing, start associating being one way with being able to pay your bills. I hated it. I hated it. I hated it. I still resist it to this day, but I know that it's God's plan for me to show up, make these videos every day, make these videos. Not because I want to be famous. If I can make these videos and they do their job for you, and I never know, and I have just enough to pay my bills, I'll be cool. I'll be cool. This question came from a Reddit thread, the very question I'm answering right now. And it's so funny, all the guys over 40, because it said, this is questions for men over 40. What are things that were important to you when you were young that are meaningless now? And every single guy, every single one basically said something to the degree that I said it here. Maybe not to the magnitude, but they're all like, yo, I stopped giving a shit about what anybody thinks about me. I stopped giving a shit about what people say about me. I stopped giving a shit about other people's thoughts. Just pay me. Just give me what I need in order to feed myself, put a roof over my head. I don't want anything. I don't want anything. And that is my sentiment. I don't want anything. I don't want attention. I don't want fame. I don't want to be anybody. And I don't even want a whole bunch of money. I don't want it. I don't want it because more money, more problems. Look at Andrew Tate. Fame and money. I don't want fame. I don't want fortune. I want to be. I just want to abandon myself to God's providence. Just abandon myself to the flow of life, to the current of life. Allow life to carry me. And it doesn't mean not doing anything, because a lot of you guys will hear this and you'll be like, oh, that means being lazy. No, it means doing what's in front of me with full abandonment, full capacity, full love and passion, and then letting it be. Letting it go, letting it go. That's why I still make these videos. I have to make these videos. It's my calling. It's my purpose. It's what I have to do. That's what God made me for. But he didn't make me so that I can be pleasing to you. He didn't make me so that I would need you or that you even need me. I'm a poet. I just make noise. I'm like these fucking crickets out here. They're just chirping. They're just chirping. I'm just chirping. And if somebody hears the chirp and they say, wow, what a beautiful sound, what a beautiful song, I'm delighted by it, then great. But if somebody's like, damn, it's just making noise, that's fine too. And just like God takes care of these crickets, like giving them what they need every single day so that they can continue making the noise that they make, this is my new goal, my new vision board, my new ambition is to be a nobody and to have nothing and to be at peace fully in every moment with what God unfolds in front of me. Look at life with curiosity, not reaching, not needing, not grabbing, not planning. I have no plans for my life. I have no goals for my life. I have no purpose except for the purpose that he gives me. When I was 23, 24, and I was writing those goals, those things that I thought I wanted to be, it wasn't me, it was he. He knew what I was going to be. He knew I was going to be here talking to you. He knew I was going to be making these YouTube videos. He planned for me to make these YouTube videos. I just happened to get a glimpse of it. I saw maybe 10% of it. I was like, there may be a lot of people listening to me. How it was going to look, I had no idea because no, YouTube didn't exist. YouTube did not exist when I wrote those goals. So what I did is I started filling in the gaps with my imagination, and a whole bunch of it was a waste. A whole bunch of it. A whole bunch of it was just a bunch of shit that I made up, that I added to it, rather than allowing it to come to me. So my men, my fellas, my guys who are listening to this, if you are in your early 20s, and it is like, because I didn't grow up with YouTube. Many of you guys grew up with YouTube. I didn't grow up with social media. You guys grew up with social media. I didn't grow up looking at people and saying, oh, I could become like that person, because Hollywood was so far off. But if you're watching this now, and you know me, and you grew up in front of the screen, and you are just screaming on the inside to become famous someday, slow down. It's not what it's all cracked up to be. All those people in Hollywood, you see, with Jeffrey, they had to sell their souls, and they did it overtly. But to show up here and to be dazzling to millions, there's a piece of you that you might have to let go of also too. And it may be associated with your greatest peace, that's what it is for me. Peace, solitude, calm, relaxed, no chasing, no ambition, no needing or grasping, just being and chilling and loving and living. Man, I love my life. Especially when it's peaceful. Be a nobody. There's a story about two trees. One tree grows straight and tall and strong. The other one grows crooked and sideways and weird, knobs on it. One is useful, the other one's useless. The one is useful gets chopped down and burned in the fire or used to build something. The one that's useless, he gets to enjoy his sideways, imperfect, sort of ugly, but peaceful life. Done.